Hello everyone, it is Leon.
And Phil, hello.
And we are playing Aliens Colonial Marines. You probably recognise the gun there. Now, I reviewed this. I gave it a 6 out of 10. It's not bad, it's just not great. We're going to rattle through here and play the sort of first 20 minutes or so. And just sort of talk about it as we go. So, it's set as a sort of a sequel to Aliens... the film, and you're kind of playing a group of Marines who are sent in to see what's happened to like Hadley's Hope, who go to Sulaco, so the film's ship, and it starts with explosions, as all games should.
Bad things happen. The sound here is incredible. Actually, there's something really evocative about this weird alarm noise. I remember seeing this close on a year ago, actually, at a preview event, and actually being quite sold on it at this point.
Yeah.
So at least on the authenticity angle. I mean, what do you make of
this is the thing. I think from a fan point of view, it's probably one of the better I should say, Aliens kind of games out there. The sound effects are all perfect. Like when you shoot the gun, it makes the right noise. The motion sensor makes the right noise. The aliens weirdly don't. They sound a bit sort of weak compared to the films. But in terms of fan service, then it does a great job. My sort of issues with it really were in terms of being a shooter. It's not a bad shooter. But it just feels like quite an old shooter, and in terms of its level of quality, I felt like it was quite similar to games like Call of Duty 2 or 3, that kind of era, which is quite telling because that was when it was first announced.
Yeah.
It's taken like 6 years to come out. The combat is actually at its best when you are fighting the aliens, because they spring around, they bounce off the walls. You're very much sort of firing from the hip and backtracking all the time, so it feels a bit like kind of Doom and those kind of retro games where there's no time for precision aim. You're just spraying bullets everywhere.
Well, especially, I mean, we're looking at the lighting in here, and a lot of the sections that I've played, it's quite a dark game, and it does have that kind of Doom 3 vibe where it wants to show off this new lighting engine in the same way that Doom 3 did, and it's using a lot of lighting-based kind of horror moments and trying to exploit that. I think from Gearbox's standpoint, they must just be glad now to not have to say the same things about this game that they've been saying for 5-6 years. I mean, you mentioned the pulse rifle noises and the motion trackers, and Ronnie Pitchford's been saying the same things about having those, and how awesome is it that we got these we got them directly from Fox and they're totally authentic, and he's been saying that for like 6 years. It must be amazing now for him to just go, there's a game, guys.
Never have to talk about it again.
I mean, what do you reckon? I don't know.
I think you mentioned the lighting. I think it's interesting. It doesn't show so much here, but there's a corridor later on where texture-wise, it's sort of, it's not bad. I mean, you can sort of see the ground here. It's not the best-looking game in the world, but it's not offensive to my eyes. But later on, when you get down to the planet on Hadley's Hope, there's a corridor which has this kind of quality sort of, textures and backdrops, but this stunning kind of beautiful lighting kind of breaking through the beams and the wreckage, and clearly the lighting has been added later on.
And it almost shows up how below par the textures and the polygon counts are. Yeah. But, they're conspicuous in contrast to that incredible lighting. Yeah. And I had that same impression, and it's a shame because...
But it's functional. I mean, it's not... I didn't at any point kind of stop playing it because I couldn't bear to look at it. It's not as pretty as some games coming out now. I mean, you play Dead Space 3. I've been playing that the weekend. That's astonishingly pretty. I'm amazed people haven't made more of a fuss about how pretty it is. And this, in comparison, is, it's acceptable. I want to just mention something here. So we got the motion tracker, which makes it sort of its wonderful noise. It works like you'd expect in the film. You can see we've got some marks and some traces there, and it makes a noise, and it gets louder the closer you get to things. But something that I don't understand as a gameplay design is, even if you're not using it, it will ping a warning when something's about to happen. So even if it's not equipped, you're not holding it. I don't know if it's going to do it now. Let's see if I can get it to... There we go.
Oh, so you never really need to have it equipped?
No. And it negates any kind of sense of threat or danger from the game, because that whatever happens, it will always go cheap, and you'll know something's about to happen.
Do you know what I would do if I was a Space Marine? Is get some gaffer tape, put that on the pulse rifle. Day one is get that right on there. But I guess it's got to be authentic, hasn't it? So they've got to...
This is another weird thing as well. I mean, this is authentic. This is, from the movie. But it kind of only exists because it's from the movie. So it's just simply a longer way of opening doors. You never really use it to in a strategic sense to
bolster things.
No, I mean there's one level where you use it to seal doors behind you that sort of almost feels a bit like an afterthought.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's just every now and then one door has to be cut open, and it just takes a bit longer.
See, to me, this looks nice. This area here looks really nice visually.
Yeah, I mean,
and the textures look quite. It looks like there's quite a few polygons forming those. The kind of the crustiness on the walls.
It's atmospheric. I mean, what it doesn't stand up to is if you look a bit too closely.
Yeah, that's okay. There's a bit mud into swords.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very much like a theme park ride. You sort of little rubber faces pop out at the right places. But I enjoyed it in terms of fan service. But I did sort of get to the end of it. When I finished it, my sort of initial thought when I completed the game was kind of like, well, I didn't hate it. Yeah. Which, isn't the most glowing kind of recommendation. And a lot of my notes were... They were sort of a bit negative, like why does a motion tracker go off when you're not using it? Why have you got human soldiers there? There was a lot of kind of why does it do this, why does it do that? And I think if this game had come out, 6 years ago, it would have done a lot better.
It would be the game that I guess Gearbox were expecting in terms of reception.
I mean, I think there was talk that they'd. Here's our first alien.
There he is. That's the lurker, right? He's one of the different.
I'm not sure. Yeah,
there's alien.
See, that's one of the weird things it does. Hang on, just kill this thing. That's one of the weird things it does. Is there's stuff that isn't really explained, whether or not it's been sort of cut out or whether it's not been done properly. But like at one point, someone goes, "There's a lurker," and at no point have they ever explained what a lurker is.
Oh, I see.
There's a level later on. I'm just going to try and find this.
It's awfully dark.
It is very dark. It's
not helpful.
No.
Oh, he's still near. He's lurking, is what he's doing. I mean, if you needed a tutorial on the lurker, this is it. I always assumed, because I've only played this game, with someone from Gearbox kind of nearby to explain what's going on. I've always assumed that they would introduce the lurker in some kind of explicit way.
No, there's like I said, there's a level later on where you're in a room and you're being hunted by these aliens that keep darting out, attacking you, and darting back. And it's sort of what I expected the game to be like. You're having to use the motion tracker to look around and to find them. And when I was playing it halfway through, the character who's sort of waiting outside the room for me to do it suddenly kind of goes, "There's 3 more left." And that's the first time I realised that I'm meant to be doing, I'm meant to be hunting these down, and when they're all gone, the level continues. I just thought I was shooting some aliens, but
that sounds a bit frustrating.
It seems like a few times they've either cut out or forgotten to include the bit that explains what's meant to be happening, and then a character will say something relating to an explanation you never got.
That never existed.
Yeah.
Can we talk a bit about the story here? Because we're cutting down a character called Keys. Now, I would be assuming that we're cutting out some of the characters that got taken away in that famous scene in Aliens, and this is where they are.
No, because there's like no survivors from the film. These are sort of the first people that were sent in. So
you're the rescue party for the rescue party for the movie?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, I see. The whole, and I'm sure this is intentional, but 100% of the single player that I've played it's so claustrophobic. It's almost unbearable at times, in a way that Dead Space 1 especially did really well. This seems too much. It seems like the walls are too close in on you. There's not quite enough lighting in it, and instead of creating atmosphere, it's just making navigation really difficult. Yeah, all the kind of analog computery equipment. I like the look of that. They haven't, they've recreated what people thought the future would look like in the 80s, which I think is important.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there's that kind of classic phrase that you're sort of never supposed to use when you write a review. That whole kind of fans of the genre thing. But it is kind of like, if you really have got a hard on for the films, then you're going to love this, because I mean, this is the films.
Absolutely. It seems even actually more fan service for Aliens fans than for shooter fans.
Yeah. But I mean, this sort of stuff is quite, it's quite good fun. It's very sort of, I mean, this is not so great because I'm trapped in a smaller area, but you do end up doing a lot of kind of panicky, where they're coming from, what's going on. You get a lot of those, it's coming through the walls moments, literally kind of mirroring the film sort of stuff.
So the movement's improved a lot as the development's gone along. They're still not quite there, because obviously you never see how they move in the movies. They're on screen for a fraction of a second. You never see the full body just walking towards the camera.
Yeah, not a mad fan of that.
Huh. Do you reckon that's just a memory thing? Save on memory?
It's a resource thing, but I'd rather... It ruins the moment, I think.
Yeah, the acid blood as well. It seems like it doesn't do a whole lot of damage.
No, I mean, it does a little bit of damage, but there's none of that kind of, in the first Alien movie where it burns through like 3 or 4 decks and they're terrified it's going to puncture the hole.
Yeah.
Here it just sort of fizzes a bit.
It's more like hydrochloric acid than pure molecular. He's been cut in half.
Yep.
And he stays. Oh no. Okay. Bye.
There's a lot of gibbing as well, like aliens and stuff will explode. You get an achievement for blowing up or gibbing 5 enemies in a mission.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That ruins the moment a little bit. Lots of stuff to pick up, armor and things. That's quite retro as well in a weird way.
You never really worry about armor.
Yeah.
These days.
Where's it coming from? But yeah, so enemies will explode and gib into these sort of big chunky bits, which doesn't feel entirely canon. See, there we go.
Oh. Yeah, that's it's a small thing, but it does have a big effect on the combat. The way that the aliens don't stick around once you kill them. It'd be really satisfying if there's a big pile of fizzing, smoking aliens.
It's not so much even the fact that the effect on the combat. It just does sort of break the moment when you're sitting there and you're kind of like watching it. And any minute now,
back to the alien homeland, fizzing away. He's. Would you say he was a useful compadre?
No, I mean, co-op
seemed too worried about shooting them.
No, I mean, the co-op does sort of, add to it. And like this kind of panicky kind of like they're behind me, they're in front of me, help me sort of thing works really well with co-op. And some of the multiplayer stuff is really nice as well. One of the multiplayer missions is it's called Escape.
Yeah.
And multi-missions. I mean, multiplayer mode.
Nice silhouetting there. That's cool. That looks very cinematic.
So yeah, Escape basically has you fighting to a bunch of checkpoints to like open doors, call down a shuttle, get to the shuttle, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's you versus a bunch of human-controlled aliens, and that as a multiplayer mode, that basically is the film. You're sort of panicking and backtreading, and it's sort of this relentless assault, and that is excellent. The aliens never really worked for me as a multiplayer kind of character because they're such a sort of an unusual, difficult thing to use. Like you have to jump close and you have to use physical attacks.
Yeah, it's all third person and the camera's wayward.
Yeah,
I found as well. Oh, so here we are. This is where Bishop got cut in half.
Yep. But weirdly, there seems to now suddenly be another dropship. I'm assuming that this is how they got in.
Yes, this is the first rescue party dropship.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, O'Neill. I'm familiar with O'Neill. I did a mission with him.
Yeah, he hangs around with you for a while. He's your main partner actually if you play single player.
Okay. He's also not massively into shooting aliens for a man with a smart gun. He's very much into standing. Let's see if they prove me wrong. I mean, do they? If you just stood here, would they deal with all the aliens?
They do. Yeah, they do. You pick up some people later on towards the end of the game. You end up with a slightly larger party, and they do. They do their part. They do some killing.
That would be my fantasy, really. As an Aliens fan, is to have the full-size squad and to be all moving, as a unit like that.
Yeah, you end up with about I'm trying to think, 4 or 5 people towards the end, and they do kill. They do make a difference. Is that everything? See if I've got any other weapons. Actually, what else have I got?
You got any grenade? Oh,
so we go.
Oh my goodness, you've got all the weapons.
Oh yeah, I finished it twice.
So you start with all the weapons again?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, the multiplayer and the multiplayer and single player kind of content is all linked together. Oh, I cannot get hold of you. There we go. This is Hicks shotgun from the film.
Yeah, there are legendary weapons around that you can pick up.
So basically,
picking up Gorman's pistol.
I picked up Gorman's pistol. Yeah. Well, I guess so. Gorman's pistol. I picked up Vasquez's smart gun. This is Hicks's shotgun that he likes to keep for close encounters.
Yeah, I mean that's like iconic, but Gorman's pistol.
Weirdly, so Hudson's pulse rifle.
Oh my goodness!
But it only does burst fire, which is sort of annoying because my main
short control bursts.
Yeah, I suppose so. My main pulse rifle obviously doesn't, and it's much more useful.
So it's just better.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There is. Let's just have a quick look at the Arsenal upgrade. So you do get like a upgrade system. These are all the different guns you can get. So the upgrade system is fairly sort of cursory. So you can have alternate fire types, firebomb launcher, shotgun, that sort of thing. Extended magazines, silencers, red dot sight, laser sight. I mean, my basic kind of loadout is an extended magazine, the red dot scope, and I've just got the grenade launcher, but I could change it for shotgun or firebomb launcher, and you can get different skins.
Oh, nice. Does that transfer into? Does your single player loadout transfers directly into multiplayer?
Yeah, it all goes. Yeah, it's all interchangeable. I mean, it feels like it was almost kind of originally planned as a kind of Borderlands multiplayer, single player kind of thing combined, but it doesn't. I don't think it's sort of been pushed as much. They're trying to sell it as a single player game with multiplayer in it, whereas Borderlands is being sold purely as a multiplayer sort of experience. I'm just going to slow down here because I want to see this bit. So yeah, why he decided... There's a weird thing in this game where the characters go from knowing nothing about what's going on to knowing everything about what's going on. So this character... telepathically thought, I'm going to have a chest burster, I should blow myself up, because that's what happens in the films.
Yeah.
But there's no kind of context of the story that would suggest he should have done that. This is interesting as well, because this feels like it should be a QTE.
And how are you controlling it?
I'm not doing anything. It's just,
you're not doing anything?
Yeah, I'm not moving anything. There's a few occasions here where QTE-like movements appear, but the QTEs seem to have been cut.
I thought you were just super casually doing it with one hand. I didn't
realise
you were
that
just watching.
happens a few times. So anyway, there we go. So Mr. Never met a xenomorph before, blew himself up with a grenade. Now we're trapped on the Sulaku.
Yeah, he probably got his phone up and just googled it.
Yeah,
I know what to do.
There is an amazing bit later on where you pick up a character who has been face hugged. And they so kind of painfully keep going like, I'm fine, everything's fine, it's dead, it's absolutely fine, it's fine, and you're just sitting there going like, you just say it once and you'd laugh, but then they keep saying it over and over again.
Are you now stuck on this?
Yeah, so we're stuck on the Sulaku for the time being.
Nice.
I mean, I think the way to approach it is as a kind of theme park ride. I mean, like I say, I gave it sort of 6 out of 10, which, you know, isn't a brilliant score, but it's not like an unplayable game. I played it through at the end twice.
Well, exactly. I think this is actually a good champion for the concept that a 6 out of 10 game is well worth playing, and it means it's still an above average game.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say well worth playing, but I'd say you know, worth considering. I enjoyed it. I played it through at the end. The multiplayer's got some nice bits in it, but generally only if you're playing as a Marine. The Aliens stuff feels a bit woolly. I was going to say something else and I've forgotten. But yeah, I mean, it's not. I think the problem is it does feel a bit like an old game. It does feel like a game you would have played 3 or 4 years ago that's only just come out now.
Do you think it's possible to make the Aliens game that people expect and that they want? Is it ever possible?
Yes, I think so. I mean, this does come close. The fighting the aliens is nice and kind of like chaotic and sort of messy, and you're constantly on the back foot. You're constantly having to sort of look up and at the ceiling, and you know, you are having to do that kind of looking around all over the place. So the mechanics and the rhythm of it is different to say a Call of Duty, because you know, you're not just shooting men behind cover, but then later on you encounter some soldiers and you are shooting men behind cover.
Well, yeah, and I think this is what appeals to me about the game, is that retro quality and picking up armor and the way that you don't really have to worry about cover is quite refreshing, even if it's not mechanically that impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to have seen, I think what made it work better would have been to take a kind of a horror movie approach almost. You know, don't make the motion tracker slightly kind of weak and useless by making it ping even when you're not using it, and you know, really make the aliens lethal and make these sort of environments scary. You know, you want to be creeping along terrified of what's going to sort of appear, and not falling into the kind of the basic shooter kind of mechanism that it uses when some soldiers turn up and then you end up just doing basic normal shooting.
Yeah, I agree. I think the horror route would have been excellent. I mean, the first Rebellion, the 1999 Rebellion, Aliens vs Predator, was such a terrifying game.
Yeah.
And it was the darkest game. I mean, you literally had to throw out a flare every 15 feet just so you could see anything out in front of you. It was terrifying. And
that's what I think some part of the problem here is that they've see, there's the motion tracker going off even when I'm not using it.
Yeah.
They've sort of been trapped between wanting to make an Aliens game but also feeling like they have to make a commercially viable shooter, and in this case commercially viable from about 4 or 5 years ago, kind of Call of Duty 3 time. But so instead of going like a good Aliens route and having this kind of panicky treading stuff here, they introduce human soldiers in a bit. They introduce different types of aliens which are familiar from other video games. So you've got like spitting aliens, you've got deaf aliens that home in on noise and then explode. You've got like a tank alien. Every time another type of alien turns up, you're going, oh, it's this thing from that game.
I see. This is a good example of some slightly odd level design. It seems to permeate the whole game, is that you're just going up and up around this room and shooting aliens, aren't you? I mean, you go around the 1/2 circle, go up some stairs, and then you do this again. And a lot of the game feels like it's dictated by the shape and size of the interiors and exteriors rather than the other way around. And I guess part of that is that they wanted to, include authentic parts of the movie sets and stuff, and that meant they had to kind of reverse engineer, well, where can we put objectives and where can we make the enemy spring out from? And it makes for some quite awkward level design at times.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Is that a lurker? What's this?
Changed to a
submachine gun.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. I was going to go for the rocket, the Hicks's shotgun. There we go.
Bang.
Oh, you let's grab some ammo.
Shot. Lovely.
Yes. Yeah, so back out here again.
It's going to be some aliens to shoot, I reckon. And then some stairs to climb.
But yeah, I mean, essentially the mechanics, I think, are here to make a good alien shooter, but there seems to be this sort of feeling that Gearbox felt like they needed to make it do normal shooter stuff as well.
So you're saying they didn't really commit to the aliens?
I think they committed to it as much as they could, but I think they probably decided that it had to be commercially viable, and if they'd gone like sort of survival horror route,
it's not in vogue at the moment, is it?
No. So I think it was partly designed with profitability in mind, and I guess the casual kind of gamers that don't buy games very often go out and buy this are going to think it's brilliant. It's Aliens. It's a game.
Is it the best Aliens game?
I think it's probably the best Aliens game for a while. I mean, it's certainly better than any of the AVP offerings. Because I mean, this is good. This is sort of nice to play, especially if you've got mates in co-op, and they're dropping down from the ceiling, and you're having panicky kind of like, oh god, it's behind me kind of moments. And when it does this, it isn't bad. It's it's good fun. But then it does at times. It feels like you're basically playing kind of Call of Duty Space, which it doesn't need to do. Have I got lost? I'm going to wind up in a minute.
Okay. Is getting lost something that happens fairly frequently?
No, not really. Because you got the motion tracker. I mean, that's the one thing that the motion tracker is required for. Is it makes these sort of I've gone the wrong way. It makes these moments supposedly avoidable. One thing that's quite annoying actually is the AI guys. So just the way I came before. The AI guys will kind of follow you if you wander off too far. So if you do
and then not come back?
No. This is the thing. They'll come back, and then you'll get lost because you're sort of thinking, oh, they're running this way. There we go. So they'll come back towards you, and then
oh, I see.
You'll see the direction they're running in, and kind of go, okay, so we're supposed to go that way. See, he's come back here, so he's leading me back out here. Is this the wrong way? No, I didn't get down.
This is the problem as well with having so many similar stages of climbing the same stairs and shooting the same bit. I mean that's the very definition of repetitive. This little area.
And the problem is the area I need to go is directly above me, so the direction marker's gone wrong.
Oh, I see. That's nice. Every here and there, there's just a really nice moment of lighting and detail, and it's like a oddly ugly and beautiful game at the same time. Do you have a smart gun yet?
You only get the smart guns occasionally.
So it's like a power up rather than something.
You sort of get given them at certain points to use, and then a little later on you do find them sort of scattered around a little bit. But they're like a power up. They're like last as long as the bullets last.
I see. And there are turrets as well, aren't there? I set up a turret in one particular set piece. That was quite fun, and being able to pick them up and take them off somewhere else, especially in co-op. That's
but again, they're sort of thrown out as like kind of. They make you, they give you one, make you go and put it somewhere, but they don't let you have them to play around with. Like there was at one point you get given a turret, and I carried it through like a Half-Life gnome. I just carried it along with me for ages until it ran out of ammo. But it didn't feel like it was meant to do that. It felt like I was kind of cheating the game by.
The game was frowning at you with every step of the way. So does the armor work by just draining first before the health?
Yeah, so the armor goes down first, and then your little 3 pips. You recharge a pip.
Yeah.
If you don't empty a pip, that pip will recharge.
It's almost gratuitous use of the word pip. But yeah, I see. So I guess it's like Borderlands health and armor style.
Yeah.
Except the armor doesn't recharge, I guess.
Yeah. This happens sometimes as well. Doors just take forever to open. I don't remember it being like in the film. I'm sure it's loading the next bit.
That 15-minute door opening sequence.
Yeah.
It's a James Cameron staple. It's the same in the Titanic.
Yeah.
Those doors are heavy. Oh my goodness, it's disorienting.
Yeah. But this sort of thing is, this panicky kind of stuff is great.
That looked great. That's his head everywhere.
I wish it did more of this. Let's try. I've got a different kind of rifle. This one. I think someone's got a flamethrower on it. Yes.
Oh wow.
Burn.
And then turn into green gas. I can see that annoying some people. The fact that gun exists in this game.
What do you mean?
It's not canon, is it?
Well,
of course I don't have a problem with it, but some people are going to hate that.
Well, there's a little submachine gun that doesn't exist either, but also, you can customize, things how you want. So I could take this, I could take this flamethrower off and put something else on.
Yeah.
Let me go back. I'm going to go back to the pulse rifle because it makes a better noise.
It certainly does. What's the battle rifle?
Ooh, dear.
I like the way he kind of switches the air, and it makes
gone disastrously wrong.
An air effect. Oh, you're burning up here. The acid does a little bit of damage.
Stupid, not being reloaded gun. Are we sealed in? We're sealed in. Right.
Cool.
You guys.
Yeah, the little air swish looks good. Oh, here we go. We're gonna blast them out into space.
Yep. So a cold reach to space.
Understood, Raider. Cargo doors are triggered to close automatically. So hurry up!
Amateur.
It's your only ship, Reed.
Secured the boat. In minutes, this ship will be flooded with Marines. Let's go find Bella.
It's obviously Space Marine policy that the pilot always has to be a woman as well.
Yes, more
throughout the ages.
Yeah. Anyway, so there we go. That's the first 20 minutes of Aliens. I liked it, but not a huge amount. 6 out of 10. Quite good if you really like Aliens, but does sort of disappointingly kind of lapse into kind of quite old-fashioned shootery kind of tropes.
For fans of Aliens rather than for fans of shooters.
Yes, definitely, yeah. Anyway, yeah,
Surprising.
leave a comment. Tell us what you think. We'll see you guys later.
Cheers, guys. See ya.